is for the ones who...
What's going on, people? Welcome back to another video. Oh my goodness, wow, experiences, moments in life that you will never forget, scenes of jubilant emotion. This is the moment where we realized that we may be witnessing history in the making. And wow, what a fight it was. Incredible scenes as Anthony Joshua loses all three belts up for grabs to the almost unknown Andy Ruiz Jr. Ruthless performance. He doesn't give up. He doesn't stop. Even though he goes down first. Gives Joshua enough respect not to get knocked out, but carries on being the aggressor as he was from the very first bell. And he was precise. His hands are extremely quick. And when he smelt blood, he went for the kill. Vicious, furiously fast hands. Wow, absolutely top-class performance. That was a boxing masterclass. And I don't want to see it being underplayed or underrated because Joshua didn't look right or his eyes weren't there from the beginning when he was walking out. All of that is kind of belittling a top-class performance. And Ruiz's counter-punching had Joshua scared to actually throw punches. When Deontay Wilder announced that he was going to be fighting Ortiz again, a lot of people questioned it. They said he was running scared. Ortiz is a good opponent who had Wilder rocked. And even though he's about 55, he's 40. He's not 40. He's definitely not 40. Bro, come on. Just so many mistakes from Joshua. Actually trying to go toe-to-toe with a guy who can punch a lot faster. His output is so much faster than you. And even though he's connecting so nicely with clean jabs, 1-2s, you would then try and go in and finish the job immediately. And that was when Ruiz just went wild. It was beautiful to watch, to be honest. As someone who has found boxing very predictable of late, this was another level. A dreamy night of boxing. It's very, very good for the sport. We need these cycles so that the best end up fighting the best instead of building up these absolute hype jobs, because this is a train that a lot of people have suddenly jumped off of. And that in itself is interesting because AJ's got all the attributes to still come back, but he's going to have to get involved in a slugfest, much like the Klitschko fight, to actually get past the first heavyweight Mexican champion of the world. I think Lennox Lewis was actually right. Joshua stayed in England far too long. He's been in his comfort zone. And he's not boxed anyone who dominated the fight as the aggressor. He commanded the way that this fight went from beginning to end. And even when he got knocked down, it was through being involved in one of the scraps that he wanted to be in. A massive victory for fat people the world over. Right? There is no shame in... Don't judge the book by its cover. This must be incredible motivation for anyone who's been sitting on the sofa for far too long and has developed some kind of gut. Right? Unfit people or unfit looking people are everywhere. But for this guy with his 40 pounds of blubber to actually knock King Anthony Joshua off the pedestal that he's been put on 4 times, I mean, incredible. And a victory for people who maybe needed a bit of motivation. Wow. If he can do it, come on. But seriously, he's got some incredible skills. I've seen people saying that the fight was stopped unfairly. Well, I'd have to disagree. Because he took about 8 seconds to get up in the first place. Then he's hanging on the ropes. Why are you leaning on the ropes when the ref has said step forward? You're doing nothing. You're showing him nothing for another 10 to 12 seconds. And he must have thought that because of who he was going to get extra time. Sorry, mate, it's a very big call from the ref, a brave call from the ref, but I think it was the right call from the ref. And in the back of my mind, I actually think he quit. I think he quit on purpose because he didn't want any more. He didn't want any more of the Mexican magic. He didn't put his mouthpiece back in. He didn't even put his gloves back up. He didn't want to get knocked out, I'm telling you. So, unfortunately, even though this is good for boxing, in my eyes, good for the sport, we have actually gone from a place where we could have had a series of the greatest super fights of, the last decade or more in Tyson Fury, Wilder, and Joshua getting in the ring. And now, Wilder really has no reason to fight. You have no belts. Why do I need to fight you? But this is Hearn's fault. This is Joshua's fault. This is This is all of their fault, really. All of these promoters. You have missed out on massive paydays here, lads. Massive paydays. Because this is what happens when you try and rig the odds in your favour. And you've come up against someone who has taken their chance. He's believed in himself. He's known what he can do. Wow, the ability in this kid, his record's sensational. And I've watched the Parker fight since, or before the fight anyway. And he won that as well. I'm sorry. I don't know how boxing decisions is ridiculous, and that is shown again by the scorecards actually having one of the Italian. He had AJ up. Outrageous, it's ridiculous. There were times during the fight when I had been able to keep some kind of tally, and I was trying to work out who was ahead, but I'd lost count. He was getting He battered him. He bullied Anthony Joshua. I looked at the guy beforehand, and I could tell that he had quick hands. But wow, he unbelievable performance. Fair fucking play. Wow. I mean, he's definitely not a heavyweight if he loses weight. So unfortunately, it goes down as a KO. And he's ruined this chance of this potential, $100 million fight with Wilder for all these delays that have happened in the last few years. Wilder will now move on to Fury, and Joshua is left with a massive L on his record. So is he Buster Douglas Jr.? Is this the one-off? Or has he been Ronda Rousey'd? And is that the end? There's lots of scenarios and ways that this could all pan out. Joshua doesn't have to take the rematch immediately. In fact, his team might think it's not sensible to do that because he's only had one fight since September 2018. And Deontay Wilder is going to be desperate to now get his hands on those belts from Ruiz. So if Joshua doesn't take the rematch now, Ruiz really holds all the cards with Wilder. He could probably pay off Ortiz so that he could fight Ruiz. And then if he beats Ruiz, he gets to call the shots. I guess he could make AJ fight Tyson Fury and then fight the winner. Or if Ruiz beats Wilder, then we've got the rematch between him and Joshua. I really think that Ruiz will win the rematch with Joshua. I cannot see him beating him. He is not on his level in terms of boxing. That is quite clear to see. And I don't think that 6 months is going to change that. There's a lot of talk about them splitting up the belts. A couple of mandatories up soon, I think in September. There's a lot of money, though, to be made with Ruiz as the unified champion and Wilder as this American heavyweight champion that they can pit against each other. America against Mexico. United States against Mexico. I can see a lot of that happening where they just talk and they don't actually want to fight each other. But this has made Tyson Fury, he's stepped down a level. He's got to fight someone now, fight someone big to get back in the conversation. What does this mean for people like Dillian White? Imagine if Ortiz was to beat Wilder. I mean, it would genuinely be a free-for-all then. What a night though. Beautiful. The sport of boxing, the art of boxing, the science of boxing is really back in a big way. Beautiful scenes. So I wonder what is going to be happening next. Let me know your thoughts on the fight and any predictions you've got on the way this could turn out in the comments section below. Subscribe if you're new and drop the video a damn like if you breathe oxygen. For now though, I've been hughwizzy and this has been incroyable.